Welcome, my name is Rathesan. I'm working at Maersk at Fleet Technology, and today we have two guests in the studio. We have Tarang from Maersk as well, and we have David. David, maybe you could start. What are you doing at sennder?
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, in 2015, I started sennder. Today, it's Europe's leading digital freight broker or forwarder with a focus on trucking, more specifically on food truck loads.
Yeah.
So my grandmother explained sennder as an Uber for trucks. We connect large enterprise shippers with small family-owned trucking company in a digital way to address the many inefficiencies that this industry has.
Okay, perfect. What about you, Tarang?
Yes, I work as a platform product owner for a product called Star Connect, and that's a solution to improve fleet energy efficiency. We put our product with IoT sensors and some machine learning on top of that data to improve operational efficiency.
Can you tell a bit more about operational efficiency and how are you exactly doing that?
Yeah, sure. So one of the key challenges that we have in operating our fleets is obviously how we optimize our routes going from point A to B, and how do we operate our machinery in the most optimal manner. Obviously we have trained crews and they have a lot of experience, but what we are trying to do is collect all that information through IoT sensors and apply AI and machine learning on top of that to enhance the experience of the users and use those recommendations as action for them to drive efficiency and optimize machinery and routes as well.
Which touched about the topic of AI. How are you working with AI?
So AI has the potential also in logistics to fundamentally change the way this industry works. But I think there's a few things that have to be understood. It will take time. It's like when the internet came out, it took many years until it had a meaningful impact, the same way with this mobile phone and so on. And the reason why this is the case is because we still have to ensure that the fundamentals are there to build the AI on top of that. And data is one of these aspects. Also, with a young startup such as sennder, data quality remains a challenge that we are addressing before we can really unlock the full potential of AI on top of that. But as mentioned earlier, it's a very inefficient market. Just to maybe mention two numbers, 70% of all trucks are owned by companies with fewer than 10 trucks. There's a lot of information asymmetry, a lot of manual work, a lot of decentralized decision making. And the second number is that almost a third of all trucks travel empty on European roads. The most transported good is air. And again, there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of information security, a lot of things that can be optimized if you have the right data and you put the right AI on top of it.
That's really interesting. So you're also talking about like cargo capacity carrying, the efficiencies and operating the trucks themselves. Are there any other use cases or levers that you...
Well, it's a lot of on the pricing and the decision making, which comes on top of the network optimization that you referred to. That's definitely also extremely important. It's also about ensuring safety and security, where you can do a lot with data. Just starting with the driving time, there's so much you can do around that to improve also the working conditions, ensuring that the truck driver, who typically has a very lonely life, can get home in a more efficient way, in a more plannable way, and spend more quality time, for example, at home, is one of the aspects that we can do. But we also already use AI today in a company, not only in the operation, so this planning, the pricing, decision making, but also in the way how we develop code, technology. And this is why I think we already see a bigger impact than on the other side, where we are still, implementing and building the data models behind that. And our engineers are using a few tools that are out there to enhance their ability to write code better and faster. And it's not only about the speed, but it's also about the quality. What I learned recently is that with AI, there's a lot of testing that you can insert while you write the code to ensure that also as you keep expanding the code and then putting it into production, that you keep monitoring whether everything is working properly, which I found super interesting and which already increased the productivity of our engineering teams in a meaningful way.
How is the interaction between the human and technology at your company?
Yeah, I think Definitely, the human has to be in the loop when we are trying to optimize and increase our efficiencies. I don't think so. We are at the stage where AI is replacing people or the human intelligence. It's augmenting the human intelligence, and that's the power that we are trying to tap into at the moment. In the future, things can obviously evolve and change, but I think there's still a lot of potential for us to just tap into this area. I do want to ask you a question. So you mentioned about data quality, and you also kind of dabbled into productivity of your programmers and how AI can be applied in all aspects of the business. In other words, are you also leveraging IoT data from your trucking operations?
So what we do is we take data from the telematics systems of big truck manufacturers that invested a lot of money in developing the solution where we can get all the sensoric data that is collected in a truck through an API.
Right.
And in order to unlock this opportunity, which for me is super, super exciting, because there's so much you can take out. You can, for example, calculate the exact CO2 emissions. And it's not based on Excel or other tools that approximate the carbon emission calculation of trucks, but you can really see what are the driving patterns, what are the brake patterns, what is the fuel efficiency, and what is the real engine, and what is ideally then also the fuel type you use, and calculate how much the actual CO2 emission, something that goes takes us further down the road. Yeah. The second thing that is interesting with these advanced data sets that we can get from the trucks, the telematics system, is the sensoric, for example, that measures the pressure of the trailer. So you can determine whether it's likely full or empty.
Right.
And when we come back to the problem of network optimization, there's a lot of empty mileage. Having that data point as an additional data set is super, super powerful to move forward also on the network optimization front.
That is super interesting, David. Just one follow-up question. Yeah. So you talked about the telematics data and other things. Like, are you also looking into using different kinds of data other than this? Like, are you having other pipelines than telematics data?
We do have different pipelines, but getting the basics into place is what we focus right now. And with basics is something like GPS tracking. Yeah? We are now getting to 95+%, and it took us 5 years to get there. Or when I started, I thought I give a driver an app, and I have 100% or almost 100% coverage. It's much more complex. So we're trying to establish these basics by combining different data sources. For example, we have the app, which is combined with the telematics system, and then some trucks have retrofitted systems, for example, in the trailer, and this is how we try to put the data together for the truck itself, and then combine it, of course, with the warehouse data to optimize, for example, time slot management and make sure that when a truck arrives, there is a slot available in a dynamic way to optimize loading and unloading.
There's more scope for more data as well, right? So that's super interesting. And is the accuracy driven more by regulations, you would say, or more by the customer needs?
I would say it's currently, unfortunately, driven more by us, because we see more the potential than I think policymakers and our customers, the big shippers. And the reason is, in order to be really impactful, you need a broader number or broader population of companies that use the data set the way we do. Very simple example, ETA. You think like if you order pizza or a cab, you have where the driver is and when he or she will be arriving. And tracking, this is not the case. So we have optimized that. We have now ETA. We can anticipate delays, incidents, and communicate that. But if we're still one of 20, one of 30 providers for a big shipper, providing this data point is not sufficient to change the way they operate. They need at least 60, 70, 80%. And they also need it in a format where they don't have to log into 20 different portals to get the information. So this is where the industry still has to advance, and I think over the past 2-3 years we have seen a lot. But this, when I say putting the basics in place, I'm talking about these things that in other industries are already very present, and where logistics or road logistics still is catching up.
Do you see the same similar experience in sea transportation, Tarang?
Yeah, I think definitely I can relate a lot to the parallels that we have between road transportation and sea transportation. I like the reliability, schedule reliability that you talked about is quite a key problem for us to solve. And we are, as an organization, really looking into how we can solve that. That alone can add 10 to 15% of efficiency in our operations that makes our customers happy when you have reliable operations, but at the same time, it also helps us to optimize our fuel efficiency, because sometimes our vessels arrive at ports too early and they have to wait, whereas they could have gone much slower to arrive at the right window. At the same time, sometimes we see that we've been asked to change the schedule and the ships have to speed up. Just to also talk about some numbers, a half a knot speed increase of a ship, a typical size of ships that we operate, would increase the fuel consumption by 8 to 10%. And just increasing the speed by 3 knots can increase the fuel consumption by 50%. And that's a lot of efficiency and basically, loss and wastage that we really want to tap into using the data and get more accuracy in that.
Talking about data, are your customer already using the insights you generate?
I think yes, to an extent, but it's a beginning, as we said, right? So we are trying to get as much data across the supply chain to give that visibility to our customers. We have a few products that are, some sort of dashboard that is providing insights to the customer, but we want to get as accurate as possible to give an accurate number of the CO2 emissions and carbon footprint.
What about you, David? Are you working with customers and sharing the information?
We are. The challenge we see is that not everyone is using this information. And so this is why we are now focusing on offering a new type of offering or product where we say, listen, for our technology to be used in the most efficient way, we need to get 100% of your volumes in a warehouse, in a business unit, in a country. And we operate that completely through our platform. This is when you then can start seeing all the efficiencies that we can offer. It starts from the visibility part. When is the truck arriving? How much time is the truck spending in my facility? All these insights that are not there if you don't have it holistically. To also then the network optimization, supporting with the right pricing. How urgent is a load really, and how is the pricing then related to the level of urgency? This is what we call control tower or send control. This is something we're introducing where we can really make sure that the technology we have developed is used at its maximum. Because as mentioned earlier, if it's just one of 20 providers, which is typically the case for the large enterprise shipper, it's not impactful enough to really change the way a shipper operates, because again, we are the only one or one of the very few that can provide these insights.
On that topic, where do you think we will be in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think it's obviously difficult to predict and speculate where we'll be in 5 to 10 years. The most immediate challenges that we want to solve is become the Google Maps of routing, where our crew can just go from point A to B without thinking how to plan the route. We have 50 vessels on one network path, and they would take different routes. It's totally up to our operators how to go from point A to B. We want to change that, and that itself will bring a lot of efficiency. We also want to improve our operational conditions and how we operate our machinery, how we maintain our assets much better. That's the, I would say, next 2 to 3 year plan for us. So in 10 years, I think the technology is evolving, the design of ships are changing, the engines that we are working with today are also evolving and changing. So I think our focus is very much going to be on automation. Our focus is still going to be very much on how we optimize our operations. It's just going to be new inputs and more data, as you also mentioned, to get the same kind of efficiency or even better efficiency disease.
Any thought from you, David?
Yeah, a lot of parallels actually. We describe it as a vision that we have titled Zen Autopilot, and we describe it as in a couple of years' time, a truck driver can wake up on a Sunday, says I want to leave tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. but I want to be back on Friday at 5 p.m. for the birthday of my daughter or son. I want to do this amount of kilometers. I have to plan the servicing in between. And I want to stop by Italy because I know my grandmother lives there. I love Italian pasta. And then we plan the schedule completely for this trucker, including, predictive demand. If I know that there is some pasta that has to be moved back to the home country on a Friday, and 95% of the Fridays, I already planned it into the schedule and dynamically adjust it if there are delays or change in the plan. More importantly, also the economics, the pricing, the costing attached to that, so that the truck driver can really just focus on what he or she is probably doing best and loving, which is being on the road, and allowing us to optimize the entire operations that are behind that. And this is, let's say, what we're working towards currently.
On that note, I would like to thank you both for this interesting discussion around digitalization and how we can use AI in the future. And thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.